your girl Karen, and I am back with another video. So for those who are new to my channel, my name is Karen B. I am a lawyer, an entrepreneur, travel lover, and to be honest, I'm so many things. But in today's video, honestly, the focus is on my last sorry, I'm driving, so I'm gonna have to see my steering wheel a little bit. Today in my video, I'm going to be talking about my last 3 years. So on the 17th of October, I clocked, it was 3 years since I got my Zambian Institute of Advanced Legal Education bar exam results, and I passed my exams on my first sitting. For me, this was really big. Now it's something that I prayed for the longest time, even whilst I was at Yali, and I worked really hard to see that dream come true, and it did. And quite frankly, I couldn't believe it, right? But that's not even the purpose of this video. I'm grateful to God for the opportunities that have opened up since then, and I just wanted to sort of give you guys a little bit of a story on how the last 3 years have been for me. Quite frankly, when I was at Ziali, I thought, oh my gosh, Ziali is probably like the worst thing in the world. Like, this is crazy, right? It wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy either, because of how much memory I needed to have of a lot of things, how much understanding I needed to have of a lot of concepts. So for me, it wasn't easy, right? And so when I finally passed it, I was like, relief, we are done and dusted, and let my life now begin, and then I start working, and I'm like, this is actually a little bit crazy. So I passed my bar exam in 2019, so that was late 2019, and then in 2020 I was getting married. So I was a bride and a first year associate, which was extremely crazy. And anyone who's done that, guys, you know how crazy this is, right? I'm so sorry, I'm just turning. You know how crazy this is. And for me, I just felt like it felt 10 times worse for me. I'm not sure how everyone feels, but it felt 10 times worse than the pressure that I had during Ziali, right? Because now there's an expectation from my employer for me to know certain things, for me to be able to do certain things, and to be a valuable asset to the company as well as to the team that I was under. So I was really under a lot of pressure, and I am a little bit of a perfectionist, and I really do pay attention to detail when I plan and when I do life. And so I did not anticipate sort of like the level of work that would have to go into being a first year associate. Now for me, in my first year, as you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that I'm mostly a corporate lawyer. I rarely ever do any litigation work. I have done litigation work here and there, and I do it for practice, just so that we're always keeping our memories fresh. So I'll take on 1 or 2 files, or I have taken on 1 or 2 files in the last 3 years, and worked on those just so that I could practice. And I found myself learning a whole bunch of new things, right? And I realized the girl's lips were looking crusty. Put in some gloss. Anyway, I found myself learning a whole bunch of new things in a short period of time whilst planning a wedding. Now that was January. In fact, when I just finished the year, I went back to work, and I immediately went back to work after my bar exam, which is yearly. And in that year, we were doing a major transaction, which required a huge due diligence to be done. And I remember just getting engaged in December, thinking, okay, now wedding planning. And then we have this huge transaction that's come on board. And At first it started with the whole team, but it was specifically for my department, because it was in the mining sector. So it's huge due diligence that we're conducting. Required a lot of reading, required a lot of understanding of the company. And guys, really, I was like, nah, that was none. Guys, hey, everyone gives out their input to different departments. So the litigation department gave their input on the litigation portion of the work. Corporate advisory gave their input on the corporate advisory part of the work. Then we have our banking and finance team, who also gave their input. And then as a mining team, we also gave our input. And so we sort of disseminated the we disseminated the information, and then everyone just got back to us with what they found after like review of the documents. Now I'm like, okay, yeah, this is team effort, guys, team effort. The way everybody just left it to me and my immediate supervisor was crazy. Like, and now for me, because at that point I'm the associate, so I'm doing a lot of the groundwork, she's doing a lot of the review work. And hey, guys, it was no child's play. Like, we call it the baptism because honestly it baptized me into transactional work. Because I think before that I used to do a lot of like nitpicking of like work that would be given. Actually, I didn't pick, it was given to me. But now that I was full-time, I got a lot more work and a lot more responsibility on projects. So there I am doing this due diligence, working through Christmas, working through industrial break to meet the various deadlines, and it was just crazy, right? So like that was the first part of it. And then following that, I had a couple more transactions, but having worked on that one, I built a certain level of skill that I felt like was just so important, right? And that was like the first few months after being put to the bar. Crazy, hectic. I'm like, guys, it's not really what I want, because at that point, honestly, I felt like it was mad, because what I was doing, which is transactional work, is not something that's necessarily taught at Ziali. Like, you learn a few things, like how to get things done, like how to register mortgages, how to do all of that stuff. But in actual practice, it turned out to be a lot more complex than just the simple, lease registrations. I end up seeing leases which have no rentals. Like imagine a lease, a commercial lease, and there's no actual figure of a rental. And then what it is like it's a turnover of the businesses. Like it's a value attached to the turnover, and that's the rent. So like it's not like a fixed rental. Sorry, not that there was no rental. There was a rental. It's just not a fixed one. So it's like the value. It's like the value of a percentage of the turnover, and it's just complicated. And then I'm like, but how do I calculate a lease? Like, how do I register a lease? Like this, like what is the figure? What calculations am I using? Like, how do I apply the statutory instrument? And coming up with those sorts of answers, and just sort of like pulling in from all the resources that was around me, and knowing that if that's the case, you just have to put the maximum amount that's payable, stuff like that. And I know it sounds like gibberish for those that are yet to go to Ziali, or those that are not lawyers, but basically it was a little bit complex, if I could summarize it. All right. And then that's obviously not even the most complex thing, but it's just like one of the things that you would think, like, how do you do this, right? And then COVID hits in March of 2020, and quite frankly, I think the most important thing for me, being in a learning environment, has been sort of like feeding off of the resource that has been around me. I'm so grateful to God for the brilliant minds that I'm able to speak to every day, like honestly leading minds in the industry that I'm able to speak to every day, and I'm able to draw from every day, that I'm able to reason with every day, that I'm able to, throw ideas at every day. So for me, I think in the first few months, that was something that I really, really appreciated. And then following COVID, we're working from home, and it's not as seamless as it would be in the office, where you would just walk up to someone's office and open the door and ask a question, or like leverage off of transactions that are happening around you, conversations. Like, you actually had to be purposeful in learning how to do certain things, right? And now we're working from home. You had to supervise yourself. At that point, quite frankly, it was quite difficult for me. I won't even lie. The transition from, obviously, as one of my bosses would call it, learning off the elbow, and now having to self-manage, having to other than self-manage, having to sort of deal with managing like my work as well, being diligent, and also being honest, because I think COVID taught a lot of employers how to trust their employees, because there was no choice. Like, we couldn't be in the office, and just being able to be so disciplined for me was such a plus, because I would work so diligently throughout. Like, working from home for me was actually, in terms of hours, I think I spent more time at home working than I would ordinarily in the office, because it was non-stop, right? So yeah, so now imagine planning a wedding during COVID, the stresses of COVID. Are we gonna have this wedding? How many people are gonna be there? Will we even be able to hold a physical event? Would we just have to sign? There's just a lot of stress and a lot of uncertainty, and that was like throughout the year. And I guess we're still working from home, had transactions that were done whilst we're working from home, which is just amazing, because like, honestly, the team worked together quite seamlessly, right? And I think for me, it was more of a learning curve of discipline, as well as honesty and consistency. So that was like the first year. And the second year, so first year anyway, get married. Thank God, at the time I was getting married in November, the level of COVID, the number of COVID patients, and the prevalence of it at the time had lowered from the numbers that we were seeing before. And I think what really like helped was that it became a little bit hot during the period preceding the wedding. And then after the wedding, we had, I think it was the second wave, which was just terrible. And I remember that one took a lot of people. But yeah, the second year, same thing, 2021, worked from home almost the entire year. Worked from home for almost 2 years. And quite frankly, it was just a whole new experience. Like, I can't even explain like what that felt like, but it was just a whole new experience that, like, we had to deal with. And yeah, so sort of manage that. And then this year has really been the year that I've been feeling like, okay, I'm actually learning. Like, I'm actually like feeding off, like the resource that's around me. Like, I'm actually like an associate. And it's honestly been such a pleasure. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm so grateful to God for like the opportunities that He has given me. But also, when I look back and see the young girl that just finished yearly and the girl that I am today, quite frankly, there's such a huge difference. Like, I've learned so much. I've learned so much in terms of like client management. I've learned so much in the way that I present my work. I've learned so much in the way that I analyze things. I've really learned so much, and I'm so grateful to God. But if I could do anything differently, quite frankly, I don't know if I could do anything differently, because I think with everything that happened, there was an extenuating circumstance behind it. So like in my first year, my second year, where I worked from home, I really had no choice but to work from home. And I'm so grateful that, I even still had a job working from home, considering the economic situation in the country at the time when COVID hit. and the requirement for and the need for a lot of employers to sort of lay off some of their employees or even give them a pay cut. Like, I'm so grateful that none of that happened to me or my work environment, and honestly God was so faithful. So for me, honestly, if I could say anything about the last 3 years, is I've learned a lot of discipline. I've learned a lot of consistency. There's been times when I've broken down because I'm just so exhausted and so tired of dealing with sort of like the pressure. It's definitely worse pressure because there's real life implications of your actions, there's real life implications for your clients, and so you just have to work so diligently and, quite frankly, learn as much as you need to learn. And yeah, like, it's just been such a humbling opportunity for me to be able to experience everything that I've experienced in the last 3 years, and to be able to work with the teams that I've worked with in the last 3 years.